So I had a question from Barry up in Newcastle today about how to get rid of Aiptasia from your reef tank. So there's a few ways of getting rid of them. If it's a fish only system, it's really easy because you can just put something like a filefish in, any of them really, because you don't have to worry about meeting corals or butterfly, like a raccoon butterfly, and they'll munch through them all in no time at all. In a reef tank, if you haven't already got tangs in there, you could add something like a copper band butterfly, but they're not mega reliable on eating them, and copper bands aren't the most easiest to fish because you have to be very careful what you keep them with. Aiptasia eating filefish do a pretty good job of mowing through them, though they will nip the odd coral. They don't tend to be too destructive, but they're probably the best bet in a reef tank for biological control. You can use Bergia nudibranches, but they're unreliable and expensive, and if you've got wrassers, they'll often eat the Bergias. And you could use peppermint shrimps as well. We need quite a lot of them, and they often don't go all around the tank as well. The best way of getting rid of apps is to try and be proactive on it, and as soon as you see one or two appear, do something about it. Because once they get sort of 10 or 20, you've got a major problem that's often unsolvable at that point. Because even if you eliminate all the ones from the tank, they'll often be in the weir and the sump and places like that, and you're basically just going to be living with them forever. So if you catch them early enough, you can either try and use something like Aiptasia X. The best way of doing that is to poke the Aiptasia till it pulls in, and then once it's all compacted, inject it swiftly with Aiptasia X. The reason you need to get it to close up is because otherwise if it's spread out and you kill the middle, all the little tips that float off will just make smaller ones. So by getting it to close up first, it doesn't have to travel as far through the nymph to kill all of it, so that's a bit more effective if you do it that way. You can get the rock out, take the rock out and pour boiling water from a kettle over one end of the rock. Wear gloves so you don't pour with your hands, and obviously don't pour it over corals and things, especially if you've got zoos or palizos in there as well. If you're worried about that, do that outside. You can then clean it off, give it a rinse under some tank or even under the tap, and then pop it back into the tank. Now getting them early is the best way, because by nipping that one in a bud, it's going to save you having to deal with several hundred if you neglect it. If you have neglected and you've got loads, your best bet is probably Aiptasia eating filefish, which will mow through them all quite happily. There's loads of other cures out there, but most of which are pretty hit and miss. Aiptasia eating filefish or boiling water seems to be the most effective ones. So hopefully that answers your question, Barry.